Today, we're gonna walk through an entire DMX setup. We're gonna call it the 4x4x4. We have 4 front wash, 4 backlight, and 4 fixtures on the floor that will create a wall wash. We're gonna take you from the control system, which is gonna be light key in this particular setup, all the way down the path through distribution and then wiring up our lights. We're gonna show you power con connectors as well and the DMX all the way down to the final terminator. Okay, before we get into the components here, first I wanna talk about DMX and also the word and language around it. So DMX stands for digital multiplex. It's simply the protocol that we're using to communicate with our lights. Now, you may have heard the word universe used, 512 channel, 1024. Let me explain that really quick for you. Every universe within the DMX setup is made up of 512 channels. In this setup, we have 4 fixtures as our front wash, 4 as our backlight, and 4 on the floor. All of the channels combined with these fixtures equal 56 channels that we will need within our universe. So, because we are only utilizing 56 channels and we have 512 channels available to us, we are gonna maintain only 1 universe. If we needed to expand into a second universe, say we had moving head fixtures with a lot of attributes that are required to be adjusted, or we just simply have a lot more fixtures, then we can open up another universe, giving us more channels. If we go into a second universe, it's still 512 channels, but now they're combined, giving us a total channel count of 1,024. With our setup, we have 1 universe activated, giving us 512 channels, and we're utilizing 56 of those channels. We are now ready to output data so we can control our lights. First step, USB cable, as simple as that. USB cable right into the Mac. We are then gonna plug that into the N-Tech USB Pro. The USB Pro here is gonna take our USB signal and it's gonna convert it into DMX and take us into the appropriate pin. So let's go ahead and take USB, connect that there. We are now ready to connect this into our lighting system. So we have DMX out. I have this little adapter on here because we are utilizing a 3-pin system. The N-Tech box outputs 5 pins, but in our situation, we're gonna go and convert that with a turnaround cable and take that into our distributor. Before I go too far, I wanted to talk about the 3-pin versus 5-pin. There's no advantage of utilizing a 5-pin setup. It's really just what are the majority of the fixtures in your setup using, and in this case it is 3-pin, so that's why we are turning this signal around and going to 3-pin. In the 5-pin setup, only 3 conductors are used anyways. So again, there's no advantage with going the 5-pin route versus the 3-pin route. Now that we have our turnaround set up, we need to insert this into our distributor. What this distributor allows us to do is segment out our DMX setup so that we can 1, troubleshoot quicker, 2, go further distances, as well as just to create a more organized setup. Without this in place, we would have to daisy chain every single light throughout the entire room. Just think about trying to troubleshoot one little issue or the lack of redundancy you actually have in that situation. If one cable goes bad, your entire system can potentially go down. Where in this case, because we're segmenting it out, if one part of the system goes down, it doesn't take out the entire lighting setup. So a DMX distributor is highly recommended in every setup that you're doing. Now, to get data to this, what we simply need to do is connect our feed from the N-Tech box and go into the input on the distributor. I have a really short run here because I'm doing this all on a desk. In your setup, your control computer is gonna be at your front of house along with your N-Tech box. You will then run a long home run to your distributor. Maybe this is placed in a back closet behind your stage or somewhere in between. Regardless, you'll need to get signal from the N-Tech box to the input side of your distributor. With your longest runs in your setup, you're gonna wanna utilize Cat5 cable. Cat5 is just as reliable as DMX cable, so there's no reason to go out and solder ends and buy expensive DMX cable when Cat5 will do. And we find Cat5 actually performs better because it's easier to pull through walls and ceilings, it's lower cost, and again, it's just as robust. So in that case, you will have to implement a RJ45 to DMX adapter. I have one right here, and with this, you will simply attach the RJ45 end to your Cat5, make your long run, and the DMX end will then connect into your distributor. Now that we're feeding our distributor signal from the computer, it's now time to distribute that signal across our front wash, backlight, and wall wash. With those 3 segments, we're gonna simply have 3 outputs on our distributor. Now, while we have 8, that's for future expansion. If we decide to maybe add a hazer to the floor, we could utilize another output. Or if we wanted to send one to house lights, we could do that as well. You have 8 outputs on this particular 8-channel distributor. Again, in our case, because we just have a front wash, a backlight, and a wall wash segment, we're gonna keep it simple and just implement 3 outputs, 1 to each one of those segments. So we've already run the cable to our different zones. We utilize DMX cable in this setup because we're in close proximity to the fixture locations. In your setup, most likely, again, you're gonna introduce that RJ45 to DMX adapter. If your setup is incorporating a wall panel, such as this wall panel would connect to a base unit. The base unit has DMX in and outputs. All you need to do to implement this device is simply insert it between the NTEC box and the distro. We'll go ahead and outline this here visually in this drawing so you can see the NTEC box connecting to the wall panel input and then the wall panel output going to the distributor. You'll then take a Cat5 cable and run it to the wall position or maybe multiple wall positions so that you can then remotely control your lights from anywhere around your room or even utilizing the wall panel within your front of house booth. As you can see, we're now connected here. At this point, we suggest you label your cables. Staying organized through the entire install process is just gonna make your life or people down the road from you serving on your team lives easier. So label your cable where it's going to. For example, my channel 1 is gonna be front wash. Channel 2 is gonna be backlight. Channel 3 output is gonna be my wall wash. There you have it. We're done in this portion of the setup. We are now gonna go to each fixture and address the light and do the additional cabling. Before we hop over to wiring up the rest of our fixtures, you should pre-patch everything first in your lighting control software. That way you have your DMX addresses assigned and ready to go. Print that sheet out and take that to your fixtures. You'll then address your fixtures with their unique DMX ID. Think of a DMX address as a telephone number for us wanting to communicate with the fixture. Every fixture gets its own unique ID or telephone number, and that's done all in the patching window. So now we're ready to wire up our fixtures. We are here at the first fixture in the backlight segment. So with this being the first fixture, it means that the line that we're gonna attach to the DMX in is coming out of the distributor. So it's a home run, meaning the output from the distributor is running all the way from that location all the way to this first fixture in our backlight scenario. Because it's RJ45, I need to take our RJ45 to DMX adapter, and I'm going to insert the RJ45 end and then insert it into the DMX in portion of this first fixture. It'll click and lock into place. This is now getting data from our distributor. For every fixture in this segment, beyond this, we're gonna do a daisy chain, meaning we're simply coming out the output side of this fixture and going into the input side of the next fixture with a DMX cable. So I'm gonna go ahead and insert that right now. This fixture data-wise has its input and output now going to the next fixture. So I will continue to do this down the entire line until the end. At the same time, I'm gonna go ahead and add power. We're utilizing PowerCon in this case. With PowerCon, it's gonna be able to clean up your setup, make it go faster. You're not using power strips or long extension cords. It's really clean. You're gonna take a PowerCon cable and simply daisy chain again power between these fixtures. So I have my PowerCon in that I'm attaching here, and then my PowerCon out that's gonna take power to my next fixture. Once I have everything up and running and tested, I will then come back and do final cable cleanup with zip ties or Velcro, really making it nice and neat. For now, I'm gonna go ahead and do this same process along the next set of fixtures here. I have 3 more to go. I'll meet you at the end. Here we are at the last fixture. I've connected all DMX cables in between the backlight fixtures, all power cons. This is the last fixture in the line. Because this is the last fixture, I'm gonna insert a terminator into the output. Since we have nowhere else to go with data, we're gonna insert a terminator, which is essentially like a stop sign. We're telling the data, stop here, don't continue on. There's a little resistor in that terminator that is killing the signal, preventing any possibility of data feedback that may cause flickering or just other issues. So it's good practice in a solid DMX setup to utilize a terminator at the very end of the line. Okay, the last step, now that we have everything wired, is simply addressing each fixture. So I have the menu on the back here, and by using the buttons, I'm just going to enter into an edit setting. So I'm gonna navigate over to my DMX mode. I'm gonna click enter, and this one, according to my printout, should be addressed as channel 19. So I'm simply navigating to 19. I'm hitting enter to save. Just as a double check, I'm gonna unplug power from this fixture and then power it back up. I'm looking to make sure the DMX address did save. Sometimes when you're addressing a ton of lights in your room, it's easy to forget one simple step like hitting the enter button. But by unplugging or turning off power to your fixture and bringing it back online, it simulates a power outage. Therefore, just confirming one more time that you have everything set appropriately and it's saved. So I can see channel 19 came back up upon reboot. We're good to go. I'm gonna go ahead across all the other fixtures and address them accordingly based on my printout patch list. All right, we have our backlight completely connected, as well as our wall wash bars. We have Pro Kicks as our backlight fixture here, and we have Pro Bars as our wall wash. Everything is connected power-wise with PowerCon, and then we have DMX cables chaining everything together. Again, we have a terminator at the end of each line here. So at the end of the Pro Kicks, we have a terminator, and at the end of the Pro Bars, we have a terminator. Again, at the front of those, the first fixtures in those segments, it's feeding from the distributor output, going over Cat5, and then terminating at the first fixture with that RJ45 to DMX turnaround. Then in between, we're simply daisy chaining. So the last thing in this setup is our front wash. We're gonna hop on over there and we're gonna go ahead and get that set up, as well as do a little aiming. So before we do that, just so we can close this side down, I'm just gonna run through a few quick color tests to ensure that we're seeing everything, making sure we're seeing reds and blues and greens, and that everything is connected and working as intended. It's important at this step, if you have one fixture or maybe you're experiencing some flickering or things not happening the way they're supposed to, you're gonna wanna check a couple things. One, the DMX address. That's the first thing to check. Two, the fixture mode. Make sure the mode is correct based on the DMX setting that you have in the software. For example, our Pro Bars here, they can operate in many different modes. We have it set to a 6-channel mode, meaning that it's going to utilize 6 channels, but we could also adjust those where they can operate in 3-channel modes. But we are not operating in that mode in this setup. We are operating in 6-channel mode, so we had to make sure that mode is set there. Pro Kicks, there is no mode setting, just simply assign the address and you're ready to go. So, it appears everything is working. We're gonna go ahead and continue with our front wash. Okay, so we have our 4 front wash fixtures wired up, addressed, and on. We did a quick aim on the stage. A few housekeeping things now that we have everything wired up. One is ensuring terminators are at all the end of the lines. So here we have 3 segments, meaning 3 terminators are being used. 1 at the front wash, 1 at the backlight position, 1 at the wall wash position. Also, on this distributor, there's also a built-in terminator. Since we're not utilizing an additional distributor, we don't need to utilize the link out portion. Therefore, on the distributor itself, there is a termination button. I went ahead and pressed that button in. Now, signal's terminating here. Again, just to make sure we are operating in an extremely clean environment. It doesn't take much for DMX signal to start causing issues within your lighting system like flicker or just random pulses of light. So, best practices, terminate your fixtures, make sure you're utilizing high quality cable, and again, adding a distributor into your setup. That completes our 4x4x4. So we have 4 front wash fixtures here, 4 backlight fixtures, and 4 bar fixtures acting as our wall wash. Essentially, this application here can apply to any size DMX system. The only difference is utilizing more outputs, adding more channels or universes on your control side of things, and just a lot more cables and fixtures. But there you have it. The DMX setup for a 4x4x4, showing you all the needed pieces from start to finish. All of us at Pro Church Lights are here to ensure you love your lights.